the New York Times published an explosive article about President Obama's, quote, kill list. The piece details the president's role in regular Tuesday counterterrorism meetings in the White House Situation Room, where he pores over suspected terrorist bios and decide whose death to order next.
Well, I think that under the disguise of a sheep's clothing, he's been a wolf. That because the nightmare of the Bush presidency that preceded him, people forgave him a lot. He was a great hope for change. The color of his skin, the upbringing, the internationalism, the globalism seemed all evident. And he's an intelligent man. But he has taken all the Bush changes and he's basically put them into the establishment. He's codified them. That's what's sad. So we're going into a second administration that is living outside the law and does not respect the law as a foundation of our system.
President Obama authorized his first known drone strike 3 days after taking office, as he was announcing this radical shift from the Bush-era doctrine of preventive and preemptive war. President Obama is running an assassination program where in a 2-week span in Yemen, he killed 3 U.S. citizens, none of whom have been indicted or charged with any crime. And Abdul Rahman al-Laki, a 16-year-old U.S. citizen, was murdered in a U.S. strike. And there has been no explanation as to why a 16-year-old U.S. citizen was killed. There is no indication that any suspected militants were killed. There's no indication that any known al-Qaeda figures were killed. That family deserves an explanation. The American people deserve an explanation.
These are the spots where the son of the American preacher, Anwar al-Awlaki, was killed. His son and 8 of his friends were sitting in this place having dinner, and they were targeted by one rocket here, another rocket there. If you see this big circle, targeted them, and then another rocket beyond this area. They say it's an American targeted killing for an American citizen, of course.
It would be and is a severe violation of human rights law as well as the laws of war for the administration to kill people that it might otherwise be able to detain. We have had a program that was begun under the Bush administration, but vastly expanded and accelerated by the Obama administration. And this is a program in which the executive branch, the president, claims the authority to unilaterally declare people enemies of the state, including U.S. citizens, and order their killing based on secret legal criteria, secret process, and secret evidence. There is no national security policy that poses a graver threat to human rights law and civil liberties than this policy today.
Without the law, it's the law of the jungle. You see, Nuremberg existed for a reason and there was a reason to have trials. There's a reason for a due process.
If you look at his domestic policy, he didn't break with the Wall Street friendly policies of the Bush administration. If you look at his transparency, he claimed to be the transparency president when he was running for office. There hasn't been transparency. We've been actually classifying more documents under Obama than we did under Bush. All previous presidents between 1917 and 2008 indicted 3 people total under the Espionage Act. Obama has already indicted 6 people under the Espionage Act. The surveillance hasn't stopped. Incarcerations without bringing people to trial hasn't stopped. So those policies have continued. And then the war policies and the militarization policies, we maintain that. We're fighting wars now in Yemen, Afghanistan. We're talking about keeping troops in Afghanistan. We haven't cut back on the things that we all found so odious about the Bush administration, and Obama has added some of his own. The drones policy, Obama had more drone attacks in his first 8 months than Bush had his entire presidency.
If you go to the village of Al-Majla in Yemen, where I was, and you see the unexploded cluster bombs, and you have the list and photographic evidence, as I do, of the women and children that represented the vast majority of the deaths in this first strike that Obama authorized on Yemen, those people were murdered by President Obama on his orders because there was believed to be someone from Al-Qaeda in that area. There's only one person that's been identified that had any connection to Al-Qaeda there, and 21 women and 14 children were killed in that strike. And the U.S. tried to cover it up and say it was a Yemeni strike, and we know from the WikiLeaks cables that David Petraeus conspired with the president of Yemen to lie to the world about who did that bombing. It's murder it's mass murder when you say we are going to bomb this area because we believe a terrorist is there, and you know that women and children are in the area. The United States has an obligation to not bomb that area if they believe that women and children are there. I'm sorry, that's murder.
We claimed during the Bush years that Bush was actually conducting surveillance without judicial review. Surveillance. Obama's killing people, targeted assassinations without judicial review. That to us is obviously much more serious. The U.S. government now intercepts more than 1.7 billion messages a day from American citizens. 1.7 billion. That's email, that's telephone calls, it's other forms of communication. Can you imagine that, 1.7 billion? We've got this apparatus set up now with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, over 1 million people with top security clearances.
The truth is that we're all ultimately watching ourselves. It is an Orwellian state. It may not be oppressive on the surface, but in our hearts we have to have a certain. There's no place to hide. There's really no place to hide. Some part of you is going to end up in a database somewhere.